Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coleman Had a Dream YouTube channel. My name is Di, your host. I'm going to be talking through a few things for you this week. We're going to do this once a week, all the way through the summer, with a few other specials thrown in as well, where we're going to be talking about the issues of the week in a short, bite-sized show. So, first things first, if you haven't followed us on YouTube already, please get involved and do that. You can like and subscribe so you get notified when all of our videos are going out and are happening. So please do that and get involved. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of the usual places, but please do consider liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel here. The first thing I wanted to talk about today is Ryan Giggs. We mentioned this a little bit on the podcast, but I think it's worth kind of going on and discussing really how he can be kind of recognized, because that was a big thing that was followed to us on Twitter, was how is he recognized? Should he be thanked? Should he be rewarded? What should we think of him, if you know what I mean? It's an interesting one for me because I think I said at the time, I recognize he's done some positive stuff for us, not just the obvious stuff of getting us to Euro 2020, but of course the introduction of some other players into our squad. We're looking at people like Kiefer Moore, who obviously his career and life has changed massively because of what Ryan Giggs did for him. So there's obviously things that he's done well for Wales. I think for me, it's remembering what we kind of value, what is important about this team, the importance of having good people there, good people around us, and role models, positive role models. I think that's why people like Rob Page has done so well in the role so far, is that he's come across in a very positive way. I think it's why people think so highly of Gareth Bale, because he's done things in a positive way. I just don't think Giggs has that positive side to him. Whilst he's obviously talented at what he does, and he says he wants to continue his managerial career soon if he can, I just can't take away the fact that he's managing our national team, or was managing our national team. And I think someone from that area needs to be held in the highest esteem. And I don't think Giggs has that. So that, for me, is why I won't be thanking him or praising him. I think it's a good job he's gone. I think he's left us in a difficult position over the last few months and years. And he's made life very difficult for the FAW and the players. And I think it's an incredible achievement that we've qualified. In spite of that, we've come through that. We've grown and developed and changed. And I think that's super, super impressive. And I think Rob Page deserves a lot of credit and praise. And for me, I'm not going to be giving that to Ryan Giggs, in spite of the things he's done. One last thing on that. People saying, I bet you were celebrating when we qualified for Euro 2020. Of course I was. But that's because Wales qualified, not because Ryan Giggs took us there. I think it's important to differentiate the two. Things can be separated. You can recognize someone's qualities for something, but not necessarily associate the quality of that person with them. And I think that is the perfect definition in my mind for what I think of Ryan Giggs. As I'm going through this, if anyone wants to chuck in any comments, please do so. If anyone comments, I'll obviously read them out and kind of have that conversation as we go. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a little bit croaky, so if I have to break off and cough, I apologize. Right on cue, there you go. Back home, that should obviously be Bale back home. That's gone really well, isn't it? I think it is interesting that we're looking at Gareth Bale coming back to Cardiff. There you go, I've got it right now. Gareth Bale coming back to Cardiff. He's someone who obviously loves being in Wales, loves being around his friends and his family and his kind of home comforts. He's obviously built himself a great house, and if everything's to be believed, he's got 3 cracking golf holes in the back garden as well, which is pretty spectacular. I think as a consequence, it's important to him to be around here. I can't see him being someone who would kind of want to be traveling long distance at this stage of his career, especially with the World Cup looming and that being a priority to him. So maybe that is the way that he wants this to go. Maybe him going back to Cardiff is the way for him. There's lots of chat. I mean, TalkSport, which obviously you can take with a pinch of salt, broke the news in inverted commas today that the club are telling potential new signings that they're confident of signing Bale. Steve Morrison apparently was chatting with Bale today, or yes, it's in the last couple of days, sorry, when he went to the Vale Resort. A lot of big talk, very, very interesting and exciting. I'm massively intrigued to know how the finances of that deal would work and everything that goes with it. But what a fantastic coup that would be for Cardiff City. I think there's an element of concern from a lot of Wales fans, potentially myself included, that he might be a bit of a prize, if you like, in the Championship, if you can kind of crock Gareth Bale, or he might make himself a bit of a target, I suppose, rather than looking to be crocked. But I think if he can keep himself fit and is playing football regularly, I don't think there's any problem with him playing at Cardiff City. I think it would be a huge boost to Wales and obviously to Bale himself as well, which would be fantastic. Thank you very much, Stephen, for jumping in on the comments. Appreciate that. Game time for our players must be our priority. I agree, and I think looking at Bale in the latest round of games, I think as the games went on, he grew in his confidence and control and everything that he did on the pitch. I thought in the Netherlands game when he came on in Rotterdam, I thought he actually played really well. He kind of moved the ball well, controlled the ball well. Some of his passing wasn't perfect, but it was the fact that he's now willing to touch and turn and play those kind of big, important driving cross-field passes and whatever, and I think that comes from having game time. I agree with you, Stephen, that is super important for our players. Ramsey's obviously another one of those that needs to be on that train as well. It's super important that he gets game time. I think our attacking players need that to be at their best, and I think as the games go on and the time ticks on, I think it's important that they're playing regularly so that when it comes to that tournament, yes, they're fit, yes, they can get through 90 minutes and game after game after game in a short space of time, but also they're at their best. It's one thing them being there, but they need to be at their best, and I think that's the way we're going to progress in the tournament, but obviously see the best of our team as well. The last thing for me is ticket tactics. The amount of stuff flying around on social media the last few days has been unbelievable. Actually, really interesting. Talking about where to get them, when they're going on sale. Obviously, the initial date has been kind of pushed back a little bit by a week or so now, depending on what group you're in. So that's interesting. I wonder why that's happened. It seems on the FAW's information that there's going to be a general sale that FIFA are going to put on. Are starting on the 28th of June. So I'm interested to see how that kind of plays out. It'd be great if anyone's in the comments wants to say whether they're going to try and get to Qatar or not. I'm in Group 3, obviously not being able to go to home games because of where I lived and COVID and whatever over the build up to the Euros has not helped me personally. I know a couple of my friends are in 1 and 2, so that's interesting. I hope everyone will be able to get tickets who wants. I think that's my main takeaway from this, is that everyone who wants a ticket and is willing to and is able to go there will get one. I think we did a great, I thought it was great, a very interesting poll on Twitter, which I was saving for tonight. It was really interesting. About 35% of people who said they're in the groups to get tickets are going to go. About 40% of people were undecided, and the rest were a firm no, which I thought was really interesting. That, again, is about 500 people responded. So about a third of those 500 people want to go. If that's a reflection of the wider fan base, then I think most people who want tickets can get tickets and will get tickets. But I'm not sure I'll go to group 5 of the loyalty point settings is my logic there. But fingers crossed. It'll be interesting to see if anyone's got any insider info on this. I would love to know what they think about the tickets and when they're going on sale. And because I mean, a lot of this is rumor. There's nothing on the FAW website at present. Excuse me. About the tickets going on general sale, not the FAW website, sorry, the FIFA website. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops as the rush continues in the next few months, because I know a lot of people have already booked their flights and accommodation. A big shout out to Claire Hopkin was someone I wanted to do, who's someone who lives in Dubai and is trying to set up as many different things for Wales fans as she can, to get to Dubai, then travel back and forth for the games. I think that's going to be my plan, but keep an eye out for Claire on Twitter. Follow her. She's doing some great deals and trying to put together some great packages for Wales fans, including cheap to free accommodation for people as well, if you're willing to go into someone's apartment with them. So get in touch with Claire if you're trying to get out to Qatar. Well, Dubai she is, but then obviously get to the game in Qatar. Before we finish, it's great to have some extra comments. So thank you very much for everyone who's chucked a comment in. Steve is asking, any thoughts on Ramsey's future? Links with Turkey. I haven't seen those links with Turkey, I'll be honest with you. I think someone like that would actually be quite good for him, where, as I thought that about Scotland, to be fair, but the same sort of thing, I think, where he's got probably maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of challenging games a year, and the rest of the time he'll be a standout player and can kind of maybe not coast through games, but doesn't need to be 100% like he might have to be in the Premier League or even the Championship. So I actually would be quite happy with him going somewhere like Turkey, to be perfectly honest. I think he's going to struggle similarly with Bale, perhaps because of wage demands, but I think he's going to struggle to get somewhere in the Premier League just because of his injury record. But who knows? My aim is to keep this under 10 minutes, so I can see the 10 minutes sign is approaching. So I'm going to finish here. Thank you very much to everyone who has watched this video. Thank you for commenting. There will be another 10-minute bite-sized video on the ins and outs of Welsh football next week. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.